The shuttle broke through the purple clouds of Nexera Prime, and Maya Cole pressed her face against the window like every other first-year student. But unlike the others, she was not looking at the beautiful floating towers of the Galactic Unity Academy. She was counting the defense platforms, noting the patrol routes, and memorizing the layout of the landing zones. Old habits died hard. Her grandmother had taught her that the Academy was the most famous school in the known galaxy. Students came from 100 different worlds to study here. The Velthari sent their noble children, tall reptilian beings with scales that shimmered like jewels. The Kresh sent members of their hive broods, four-armed insects who thought as one. The Syndicate world sent the sons and daughters of wealthy trading families. And Earth, the small blue planet that had only discovered faster than light travel 2 centuries ago, sent whoever was lucky enough to pass the entrance exams. Maya had not needed luck. She had needed to hide what she truly was. The shuttle landed with a soft bump, and students began pushing toward the exit. Maya waited. She watched a group of Velthari students shove past a human boy, nearly knocking him to the ground. She watched a Kresh female click her mandibles in what passed for laughter among her species. She watched and remembered. When she finally stepped onto the platform, the air of Nexera Prime filled her lungs. It was thinner than Earth's air, with a strange sweetness that came from the alien flowers that grew everywhere. Maya adjusted her breathing automatically, a technique her mother had taught her before she could walk. The registration hall was a massive dome of crystal and light. Thousands of students milled around, separated into groups by species. The humans were easy to spot. There were only about 50 of them among the new arrivals, and they huddled together like frightened animals. Maya did not join them. She walked to the registration desk alone. The administrator was a pale creature from the Syndicate worlds, with large dark eyes and fingers that were too long. He looked at Maya's documents with obvious boredom. Cole Maya, human, Earth. He made a sound that might have been a sigh. No family connections. No prior achievements. No special talents listed. That's correct, Maya said. You understand that humans have the highest dropout rate at this academy. Most of your species cannot handle the academic pressure, let alone the social challenges. I understand. The administrator stamped her documents and handed them back. Dormitory Block 7, Room 412. You will be sharing with a Kresh student. Try not to cause problems. Maya took her assignment and walked away. She could feel the administrator's eyes on her back, dismissing her as just another weak human who would wash out before the year was done. That was exactly what she wanted him to think. The truth was something very different. Maya's real name was Maya Ashford, and she came from a family that had been fighting wars since before humans knew other intelligent species existed. Her grandfather had commanded the first human soldiers to fight in space. Her mother had led secret operations against enemies that the public never heard about. Her grandmother had been a sniper so skilled that she once held a position for 3 days without moving, waiting for the perfect shot. The Ashford family had passed down their knowledge through generations. Combat techniques, survival skills, the ability to read a situation and know exactly how to respond. Maya had been trained since childhood, shaped into something that the peaceful galaxy had never seen. A professional human soldier. But the galaxy did not want human soldiers. When Earth had finally joined the galactic community, the other species had been horrified by humanity's history of war. They had pressured Earth's government to disband its military traditions, to scatter the old warrior families, to bury the knowledge that had been accumulated over centuries of conflict. The Ashford family had officially ceased to exist. Maya was the last one who carried their training, their memories, their purpose. She had come to the academy to hide in plain sight while she figured out her next move. But she had also come because she had heard rumors, whispers of old enemies returning, shadows moving in the dark spaces between stars. If those rumors were true, the galaxy would need what she knew. Until then, she would be Maya Cole, average student. Unremarkable human. No threat to anyone. Her dormitory room was small but clean. Her roommate was already there when Maya arrived. The creche female was unpacking with all four of her arms, moving with the efficient speed of her species. She turned when the door opened, and her compound eyes fixed on Maya with immediate disgust. "A human?" she said. Her voice was harsh, clicking on certain sounds. "I requested a single room. I'm Maya. I am Zithka of the Creche Collective 7th Brood." The alien did not offer any greeting gesture. "I have studied your species. You require too much sleep. You produce unpleasant smells. You are slow and weak compared to almost every other intelligent species in the galaxy. I'll try to stay out of your way," Maya said calmly. She began unpacking her single bag. She did not have much. Some clothes, a few personal items, and a small metal case that she placed carefully in her footlocker, making sure Zithka could not see what was inside. That case contained everything that mattered. Data chips holding centuries of military knowledge, her grandmother's tactical analyses, her mother's field notes, a photograph of the women who had come before her, wearing uniforms that no longer existed for a military that had been erased from history. Maya closed the footlocker and sat on her bed. Through the window, she could see the Academy's towers stretching toward the sky. Somewhere in those buildings, thousands of students from dozens of species were preparing to learn, to grow, to become the leaders of the next generation. None of them knew what Maya was. None of them suspected that the quiet human girl with the average records was carrying the last remnants of Earth's warrior heritage. And none of them knew that, before the year was over, that heritage would be the only thing standing between them and extinction. But that was still in the future. For now, Maya lay back on her bed and closed her eyes. Her grandmother had always said that a soldier's most important skill was patience. The ability to wait, to watch, to strike only when the moment was right. Maya had plenty of patience. She had been waiting her whole life. She could wait a little longer. 6 weeks passed, and Maya became invisible. She attended every class and scored exactly in the middle of every test. She participated in group projects without standing out. She ate in the cafeteria, walked the corridors, and slept in her room, all without attracting any attention at all. The instructors barely noticed her. The other students forgot her name. Even Zivka, who shared her room, stopped paying attention to what Maya did. The human girl was boring, unremarkable, not worth thinking about. This was exactly what Maya wanted. While everyone ignored her, she was watching everything. She learned the Academy's patrol schedules. She mapped the layout of every building. She studied the other students, noting who was strong, who was smart, who was dangerous. She listened to conversations in hallways and cafeterias, picking up gossip and rumors and useful information. She also noticed things that troubled her. The human students were struggling, not just academically, but socially. They were targets. The Velthari bullied them openly, using their greater size and strength to intimidate. The creche mocked them in their clicking language, making jokes that humans could not understand. Even the students from the syndicate worlds looked down on humans, treating them like primitive creatures who had somehow stumbled into civilization. One evening, Maya found a human boy sitting alone in the observation deck. His name was Danny Liu, and his face was covered in bruises. "What happened?" Maya asked, sitting nearby. Danny looked up with tired eyes. "I walked into a door. That door had 4 arms, didn't it?" He let out a bitter laugh. 3 of them, actually. They didn't like that I got a better grade than one of their brood members in biology class. Did you report it? What's the point? The administrators don't care about humans. They expect us to fail anyway. Danny touched his bruised cheek. This is the third time this month. I'm starting to think maybe I should just go home. Maya was quiet for a moment. What did you want to do after the academy? I wanted to be a diplomat. Help humans find their place in the galaxy. He shook his head. Stupid dream, right? Not stupid. Just difficult. Same thing, when you're human. Maya looked out at the stars. She could see one of the Academy's moons rising, casting silver light across the platform. Things might change, she said. You really believe that? I believe that nothing stays the same forever. The next morning, 3 creche students were found unconscious in their dormitory. They had been hit with precise strikes to specific nerve clusters, leaving them paralyzed but unharmed. The Academy's security systems showed no sign of anyone entering or leaving. The medical scans showed that whoever had attacked them knew creche anatomy better than most creche did. The investigation found nothing. Maya attended her classes as usual, her test scores remaining perfectly average. If something changed after that, the attacks on human students became less frequent. Rumors began to spread through the Academy. Whispered stories about humans who were not as weak as they appeared. About Earth's hidden history, its buried traditions, its forgotten warriors. Nobody could prove anything. But the other species started looking at the human students differently. There was doubt in their eyes now. Uncertainty. 2 weeks later, the Academy announced the Centennial Challenge. Every 100 years, the Academy held a series of trials to identify exceptional students. The challenges tested physical ability, mental strength, and strategic thinking. Students who performed well were given special opportunities and fast-tracked into important positions throughout the galaxy. Most humans never participated. The challenges were designed around the abilities of stronger, faster species. Humans who tried usually ended up in the medical bay. When Maya registered her name for the challenge, the administrator laughed out loud. "You're joking," he said. "I'm not. The last human who competed. Couldn't walk for 3 months. Afterward, I understand the risks." He shrugged and added her name to the list. "Your choice. Don't say we didn't warn you." The first challenge was called the Gauntlet. It was a 2-kilometer obstacle course through changing terrain. There were sections with no gravity, sections with extreme temperatures, and automated defense systems that would shoot any student who moved too slowly. 247 students had registered. Maya was one of only 3 humans. "This is going to be embarrassing," said Kevin Park, another human competitor, as they waited at the starting line. "The Valkyrie can jump 3 times higher than us. The creche have 4 arms to climb with. What do we have?" "Endurance," Maya said. Kevin snorted. "That won't help when everyone else finishes before we're halfway through." The starting signal sounded. The Valkyrie surged ahead immediately, their powerful legs carrying them over obstacles that forced humans to climb slowly. Within minutes, Maya was far behind the leaders. She did not try to catch up. Instead, she watched. She noted which obstacles slowed the faster species. She saw where the defense systems were strongest. She observed which paths led to dead ends and which opened into easier terrain. While other students burned themselves out trying to match the leaders, Maya kept a steady pace. It was a rhythm her family had developed over centuries of long marches through hostile territory. Not fast, but sustainable. Not impressive, but effective. The zero-gravity section eliminated dozens of students who could not adapt to moving without weight. Maya had trained for this since childhood. She flowed through the section like she was swimming through air. The temperature zones were brutal. Freezing cold followed by burning heat. Many students collapsed. Maya endured through techniques that her grandmother had learned from soldiers who fought in Earth's harshest environments. By the halfway point, she had moved from near last place to the middle of the pack. The automated defense systems were the final test. They were designed to be avoided, not fought. Students who tried to fight through them got stunned and fell behind. Maya watched their patterns for a few seconds, then moved through the defense grid in a series of precise movements that slipped between the sensors. One of the instructors watching from above leaned forward. "Did you see that?" "See what?" "That human girl. She just navigated the defense grid faster than any student in years. Maya crossed the finish line in 12th place. Not first. Not close to first. But for a human, 12th place was extraordinary. As she walked past the other competitors, she saw something new in their eyes. They were looking at her differently now. The weak little human had done something that should have been impossible. Maya kept her expression neutral. Inside, she allowed herself a small moment of satisfaction. The proving had begun. The second trial of the Centennial Challenge was called the Labyrinth. It was a massive maze filled with puzzles, traps, and problems that could only be solved by working together. Students were put into random teams of 3. They had to find their way through the maze and reach the center before time ran out. When Maya saw her team assignment, she almost smiled. Her teammates were Vera Cross, a pale girl from the Syndicate worlds whose family controlled half the trade routes in 3 systems, and Zithka, her creche roommate who still thought humans were primitive creatures. "This is unfortunate," Zithka said when she saw the assignment. "I had hoped to work with actual competitors." "I finished 12th in the gauntlet," Maya pointed out. "A lucky accident. Humans cannot perform consistently." Vera Cross looked between them with the calculating eyes of someone who had grown up negotiating business deals. "Fighting won't help us. Let's just get through this." The labyrinth began in darkness. The 3 of them stood in a corridor that split into 6 different paths. There was barely enough light to see. Strange sounds echoed from somewhere deep in the maze. "I will lead," Zithka announced. "My eyes can see better in low light than either of yours." "Wait," Maya said. She had been studying the walls, feeling the air move against her skin. "Take the second path from the left." Both aliens turned to stare at her. "How do you know?" Vera asked. "Air currents. There's a larger space about 50 meters down that path. The others lead to dead ends or traps." "You can feel air currents?" Zivka's voice was full of disbelief. "My grandmother taught me." Maya started walking. After a moment, the others followed. The labyrinth tested them with challenge after challenge. Each puzzle required a different type of knowledge. There was a biological lock that only Zivka could understand, using her knowledge of alien organisms. There was a trading cipher that Vera recognized from her family's old records. And there was a tactical problem that required understanding military history. Maya solved it in seconds. "How?" Zivka demanded. "That scenario was based on ancient warfare. No one studies such things anymore. It's based on a battle called Canny," Maya said. "It happened on Earth over 2,000 years ago. A general named Hannibal used a similar strategy to defeat a much larger army. You study ancient Earth battles?" "My family kept records." They kept moving. The deeper they went into the labyrinth, the harder the challenges became. But something was changing in the way Zivka and Vera looked at Maya. The human who had seemed so ordinary was suddenly producing knowledge that neither of them had. She predicted traps before they appeared. She knew which paths were safe and which were dangerous. She moved through the maze like she had been training for this her whole life, which, of course, she had. They reached the center of the labyrinth in 3rd place. It was the highest finish any team with a human member had ever achieved. That night, Zivka broke her usual silence in their shared room. "You are not what you seem," she said. Maya was lying on her bed, reading. "What do you mean?" "I have studied humans extensively. Your species is supposed to be slow, weak, and simple. But you are none of those things. Zivka's compound eyes studied her carefully. What are you hiding, Maya Cole? Maybe you don't know as much about humans as you think. I will discover your secrets. Maya smiled slightly. Good luck. But inside, she knew that her time of hiding was running short. She had revealed too much in the labyrinth. People were starting to ask questions. What she did not know was that very soon, none of that would matter. Because something was coming. Something that had not been seen in 500 years. Something that would force Maya to reveal everything she was. 3 days before the third trial, the Academy's sensors detected movement in deep space. Alarms began to sound. Emergency messages flashed across every screen. The Ravagers had returned. Maya had heard stories about the Ravagers from her grandmother. They were ancient, older than most civilizations in the galaxy. Some people thought they were a species. Others thought they were a weapon created by some long-dead race. What everyone agreed on was that they were death itself. The Ravagers consumed everything. They ate biological matter, processed metals, and raw energy. When they attacked the world, they left nothing behind but dust and silence. 500 years ago, the galaxy had united to push them back into the void. Billions had died in that war. And now, somehow, they were back. Their first target was Nexera Prime, the Academy. The director called an emergency meeting. His face was pale with fear. We cannot evacuate in time, he announced. The Ravager swarm will arrive in 18 hours. Military ships are on the way, but they will not reach us for 3 days. We must defend ourselves. The assembly hall erupted in panic. Students screamed. Some cried. The Velthari argued about defense strategies. The Kresh wanted to hide. The Syndicate students tried to bribe their way onto the few available. Escape shuttles. Maya watched it all with calm eyes. Danny Liu found her in the chaos. You're not scared. Fear doesn't help. Then what does? Maya looked at him. Gathering everyone who's willing to fight. Meet me in dormitory block 7 in 1 hour. Fight? Against Ravagers? That's suicide? Maybe. But dying on your feet is better than dying on your knees. Maya's gray eyes were hard. Besides, I know something about Ravagers that the rest of the galaxy has forgotten. What? That they can be beaten. My grandmother helped beat them 500 years ago. Maya started walking toward the exit. 1 hour. Spread the word to the other humans. Tell them Maya Ashford wants to see them. Danny froze. Ashford? I thought your name was Cole. Maya did not look back. My name is whatever I need it to be. Right now, it needs to be Ashford. Because Ashfords know how to fight. She left Danny standing in the chaos, his mind racing with questions. But he did what she asked. He always would, from that day forward. The clock was ticking. 18 hours until the Ravagers arrived, and Maya Ashford had a lot of work to do. 1 hour later, 11 human students stood in Maya's dormitory room. The 12th human in their class had managed to escape on a shuttle. The rest had been left behind. Why are we here? Kevin Park asked. His voice shook slightly. What can humans do against Ravagers? We should be hiding, not meeting. Hiding won't save you, Maya said. The Ravagers don't leave survivors. They don't take prisoners. They consume everything until nothing remains. Then we're dead anyway. Why bother? Maya opened her footlocker and took out the small metal case she had guarded since arriving at the academy. She placed it on her desk and opened it. Inside were dozens of data chips, each one carefully labeled. She spread them out so everyone could see. These contain the combat knowledge of my family, she said. The Ashford family. For 400 years, we trained soldiers. We studied warfare. We learned how to fight and win against enemies that seemed impossible to defeat. She picked up one of the chips, including the Ravagers. The room went silent. My grandmother was part of the force that pushed the Ravagers back 500 years ago, Maya continued. She was the only human on the team. The other species never acknowledged what she did. But she kept records. Detailed records. About Ravager weaknesses. About how to fight them. About how to win. Why would they have weaknesses? Someone asked. They're supposed to be unstoppable. Maya activated one of the data chips. A holographic image appeared in the air. A Ravager drone. It was terrifying to look at. A nightmare of black armor and razor-sharp blades. The students flinched back from the image. They communicate using light, Maya explained. Strong electromagnetic interference disrupts their coordination. Without communication, they become confused and slow. She pointed to the image. Their armor is extremely resistant to energy weapons, but it's vulnerable to physical impact at specific points. Here, here, and here. She indicated the joints where different body segments connected. Hit these spots hard enough, and you can disable them. With what? Kevin demanded. We don't have weapons. We have everything around us. Metal pipes. Broken furniture, rocks, tools from the maintenance areas. Maya's voice was steady. The Ravagers have fought species that relied on advanced weapons. They've never fought humans who will use anything they can find. Danny Lou stepped forward. I'm in. Tell me what to do. Danny, you're good with electronics. I need you to build electromagnetic pulse devices from whatever you can find in the engineering labs. Small ones, portable, that can be thrown like grenades. I can try. Don't try. Do it. Maya looked at the others. I can't make you soldiers in 18 hours. But I can teach you how to move, how to work together, and where to hit a Ravager to hurt it. The question is, do you want to die hiding? Or do you want to die fighting? One by one, the human students nodded. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Good, let's get to work. Word spread through the academy. Other students came to Maya's door. Not just humans, but aliens who had seen her performance in the challenge and knew she understood something they did not. Zivka arrived with 3 other Kresh. Vara Cross brought a group from the Syndicate Worlds. Even Keth, the Velthari who had sneered at Maya on her first day, showed up. His scales had lost their shine. Fear had made him humble. What can you teach us? He asked. Everything I know, Maya said. If you're willing to listen to a human. Keth's jaw tightened. Then he nodded. I am willing. For the next 12 hours, Maya worked without rest. She organized the volunteers into teams. She showed them how to move through the academy's corridors without being seen. She taught them where to strike a Ravager and how to work together to bring one down. She explained the enemy's patterns, their behavior, their weaknesses. The academy's security personnel were skeptical at first, but when Maya demonstrated her knowledge, they began to pay attention. Soon they were working with her, integrating her volunteers into their defense plans. By the time the Ravager swarm entered orbit, Maya had 43 students ready to fight. Not trained soldiers, not warriors, just young people from a dozen different species who had decided they would rather die on their feet than hiding in the dark. The first wave hit at sunset. The outer shields failed within minutes. Ravager drones poured through the breaches, their shrieking calls echoing through the corridors. The sound was designed to cause fear, to freeze prey in place. Most students ran toward the central complex, seeking shelter. Maya's teams held their positions. Remember what I taught you, she said over the communication network. They're fast, but they move in patterns. Watch for the pattern. Wait for the opening. Strike at the joints. The first Ravager drone found her team in the western corridor. It was huge, twice Maya's height, with blades that could cut through metal. It shrieked and charged. Maya did not run. She watched it come, timing its movement, reading its pattern. At the last second, she rolled aside and drove a piece of broken metal rebar into the joint beneath its forward leg. The drone stumbled. Maya struck again, hitting another joint. And again. The creature collapsed, its legs unable to support its weight. Like that, Maya said into her communicator. Just like that. Across the academy, her volunteers began to fight back. Danny Liu threw his homemade electromagnetic pulse devices, shorting out the drone's communication systems. Zivka used her knowledge of alien biology to identify weak points that even Maya had not known about. Keth fought beside Kevin Park, the Velthary's strength combining with the human's quick thinking. The first wave was repelled. 7 students died. 20 more were wounded. But the academy still stood. Maya gathered her remaining fighters in the main hall. Blood ran down her arm from a shallow cut. She ignored it. "They'll be back," she said. "The second wave will be larger. We need to reorganize and reinforce our positions. Can we hold?" Vera asked. Maya looked at the faces around her. Humans, Velthary, Kresh. Syndicate. All of them exhausted, all of them scared, all of them still standing. "We can try," she said. "And trying is enough. Because every minute we hold, the military ships get closer. Every drone we destroy is one less that can attack somewhere else." She raised her voice so everyone could hear. "The galaxy thinks humans are weak. They think we're the little species from the primitive planet. But my family learned something a long time ago. It's not about being the strongest or the fastest. It's about refusing to quit. It's about fighting until you can't fight anymore, and then fighting some more." She looked at Danny, at Zivka, at Keth, at all of them. "Tonight, we're all human. Tonight, we all fight until the end." The second wave came at midnight. It was larger, more organized, more deadly. Maya's forces met it head-on, and somehow, against all odds, they held. The third wave came at dawn. The fourth came 2 hours later. By the time the military relief ships finally arrived, the academy had been under attack for 31 hours straight. 62 students were dead. 104 were wounded. 3 entire dormitory buildings had been destroyed, reduced to rubble and ash. But the Ravager swarm had been broken. When the first dropships landed, they found something that no one had expected. Humans and aliens fighting side by side, covered in blood and dust, standing among the remains of countless Ravager drones. And at the center of it all, a young human woman with gray eyes, directing the defense like she had been doing it her entire life. Maya did not see the dropships land. She was unconscious by then, having taken a Ravager blade to the shoulder while protecting a group of retreating students. Zivka had carried her to the medical bay, all 4 of her arms wrapped around the human who had taught her that strength came in many forms. Maya woke 3 days later. Her room was full of visitors. Danny Liu sat in a corner, his arm wrapped in a healing cast. Vera Cross stood by the window, working on something on her communicator. Zivka was checking Maya's medical readings with the focused attention of a scientist who had found something fascinating. And at the foot of her bed stood a woman Maya had never met, but recognized immediately. The woman wore a military uniform with markings that no longer officially existed. Her gray eyes were exactly the same shade as Maya's. "Admiral Catherine Ashford," the woman said. "You're out. I'm sorry we're meeting like this." Maya struggled to sit up. "I thought our family was disbanded, erased." "Officially, yes. But some things are harder to destroy than people think." Catherine's face softened slightly. "You did well, Maya. Better than well. You saved this academy. How many died?" 62. Maya closed her eyes. 62 students who would never graduate, never go home, never become what they might have been. because the Ravagers had returned and the Academy had not been prepared. It should have been fewer, she said. It would have been everyone without you. Catherine sat on the edge of the bed. The Galactic Council is in chaos. They're demanding to know how a first-year human student organized a defense that held off a Ravager assault for 31 hours. Some species want to arrest you for revealing classified combat techniques. Others want to give you medals. And Earth? Earth is proud and worried. Catherine's expression grew serious. What you did here reminded the galaxy that humans are not the harmless creatures they wanted us to be. That scares a lot of people. Good, Maya said quietly. They should be scared. Not of us. Of what's coming. She met her aunt's eyes. The Ravagers don't send single swarms. If they attacked here, they're attacking other places too. This was just the beginning. We know. Reports are coming in from 3 other systems. The Ravagers are back in force, and the galaxy is not ready. Then we need to get ready. Catherine studied her for a long moment. You have a choice, Maya. The government wants to give you a quiet medal and send you back to a normal life. Pretend none of this happened. Let you disappear into the crowd again. Or you help us rebuild what was lost. The old families, the training programs, the knowledge that humanity buried because the galaxy told us to. Catherine leaned forward. The Ravagers nearly destroyed civilization once. They're going to try again. And this time, the galaxy is going to need what only humans can provide. Maya thought about the students who had fought beside her. The aliens who had learned that humans were more than weak primitives. The 11 young humans who had transformed from frightened kids into something like warriors because someone had shown them it was possible. I'll need help, she said finally. I can't do this alone. You won't have to. The Ashford family was never about one person. It was about an idea. That humans would face whatever the universe threw at us and refuse to break. Catherine stood. You've shown the galaxy that the idea is still alive. She walked to the door, then paused. Your mother would have been proud of you, Maya. Very proud. After Catherine left, the room was quiet. Danny cleared his throat. So, he said, Maya Ashford. That's really your name? That's really my name. And your family has been training soldiers for 400 years? Something like that. Danny laughed. It was a tired sound, but genuine. No wonder you beat me in every training session. Zivka spoke next. I have been researching the Ashford name since you were brought to the medical bay. The records are hidden, but I found some. Your family has fought in every major human conflict for generations. She shook her head slowly. I thought I understood your species. I was wrong. Most people are wrong about humans, Maya said. They see that we're smaller and weaker than other species. They think that means we're less dangerous. She looked out the window at the damaged academy, at the repair crews working to rebuild what had been destroyed. They forget that we spent 10,000 years fighting each other before we ever reached the stars. That we developed war into a science. That we created soldiers like other species create art. And now? Vera asked. Now, we remember what we are. And we teach others. Maya turned back to face her friends. The Ravagers are coming back. The galaxy isn't ready. But humanity has been getting ready for this for longer than anyone realizes. In the weeks that followed, the academy slowly returned to normal. Classes resumed. The damaged buildings were repaired. Students tried to process what they had experienced, but everything had changed. Humans no longer walked the corridors with their heads down. When Valkyrie students passed, they nodded in respect instead of looking away in contempt. The human students who had fought under Maya's command carried themselves differently. They had discovered something inside themselves that they had not known existed. Maya's official records were updated. No more hiding behind a false name. She was Maya Ashford now, openly and officially. The last heir of Earth's greatest military lineage. The hero of the Academy defense, she was offered everything. Accelerated graduation, diplomatic positions, military commissions from species who suddenly wanted human warriors on their side. She turned them all down. "I'm going to finish my education properly," she told the Academy director. "No more pretending to be average." And after that, Maya looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Ravagers were regrouping. The galaxy that had ignored humanity for so long was going to need humans more than ever. After that, I'm going to teach others what my family taught me. The galaxy is going to need more than one human who knows how to fight. On her first day back in class, Maya sat in the front row. When the instructor asked about combat theory, she answered without holding back. No one laughed. No one doubted. Zithka sat beside her. Danny was on her other side. Behind them sat humans and aliens together. Students who had bled together and fought together and learned that the lines between species mattered less than the bonds forged in battle. The galaxy had spent centuries underestimating humanity. They had told humans to forget their warrior traditions, to bury their military knowledge, to become peaceful and harmless. That era was over now. Maya Ashford had arrived at the galaxy's premier academy as a fresh face that nobody noticed. She had hidden what she was, waited for the right moment, and revealed her true nature only when it mattered most. Now everyone knew. The last daughter of Earth's deadliest lineage was not hiding anymore, and she was just getting started. The Ashford family had not ended with Maya. Looking at the faces of the students around her, human and alien alike, Maya realized something important. The family was just beginning again. And this time, it would be bigger than ever before. The galaxy had created the threat of the Ravagers. Humanity would create the answer. That was what humans did. It was what they had always done. And Maya Ashford would make sure they never forgot it again.